second short. Thank you. It's really great to be here. Thank you to Roy and to Ronnie and to John for having me here. Thank you for everybody for being here. It's always really fun to read poetry. That's one of the reasons I write poetry, is to read it in front of people. And my poetry is really written to be performed. So we'll see how this goes. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
You never hear me. So I'm going to start out with some lighter poems and then darken it up towards the end. Just to give you guys a fair word of warning. This first poem, actually something that John didn't mention. John and I are also at Mount SAC. We're co-advisors for the Creative Writing Club on campus. And every now and then they do writing exercises and things like that. So this first poem I'm going to read is based on a writing exercise that the club members did. And John and I did it too. It's called Poem for Anywhere. If you are reading this, you are sitting in a cafe underneath the stool where I carved this poem with a fingernail, sharpened by childhood bad habits. How you got here is between you and the floor. But don't leave until you reach the end of the cyclone I left behind while stopping in for a breath of hot air. If the stool is occupied, don't spin the cushion. Instead, roll your eyes in clockwork whirling and swallow your sick. Compose a response at your earliest convenience. Spray paint it on the roof of the tallest building you can find. That way, anyone flying up to heaven on newly hatched wings will remember that poetry can be found anywhere. That poetry can bend pearly white bars into the shape of a couplet, trim the clouds to verse, that you can write a sonnet in permanent ink on God's giant forehead while he sleeps. Curtains. In my worst nightmare, I'm the hero of the piece, which means nobly and stoically laying down my life on the train tracks while some damsel yells, "Distress!" and runs me over for the next 2 reels. Because Joseph Campbell says every journey's the same, and sometimes that means evisceration. So I'm comatose but wide awake thanks to the sleep paralysis some hellspawn gave me, ironically enough, in my sleep, and it was a momentary lapse, a character flaw tragic enough to sell tickets. I spend half the time saying, "as you wish," over and again, with different inflections, or I invent new syllables like a has, a you, a wish, or I wink after 2 beats instead of 13. Because catchphrases and movie posters are like fences and neighbors, is what the suits say, and they're footing the bill and enabling my heroin addiction, which finally gets resolved in Act 3 thanks to Aerosmithian power chords and slow motion editing. At the denouement, the object of my affection inflicts special effects to cause infection that spreads until the credits roll. Yes, there are outtakes. Yes, they'll be on the DVD. Yes, we're already planning the sequel. Yes, the commemorative cup is on sale in the lobby, half off for the backs of jujubes. Next time, my nightmare will take place at sea, and will reference the original ad nauseum, until the audience is nauseous with nauseous laughter. But next time, work on channeling your pathos. You'll need it to fit into the wardrobe. That's what the director says before he slaps me back to life, back to reality, and I sit up and scream as my tongue gets caught in the snap of the clapboard. The last thing I hear is, try a long A instead of a short one next time your mouth is bleeding. And for the love of Pete, make those tears more believable. My parents are here, Lena and Larry. So I'm going to read a poem about me being young. It's called Feats. When I was young, my feet would move in the shape of less than, not equal to. My parents told me to look down, and so I did. Do. Eye-contacting sneakers down crowded hallways. When I was young, my mom says I could have been a ballet dancer, that I love balancing on my toes. But I don't dance unless I'm alone. But I'm always alone. When I was young, I needed Velcro straps to keep my shoes from escaping. Bunny earring eludes me. To this day, I straitjacket laces for the bouncing. When I was young, I could put my toes in my mouth. I can't anymore. When I was young, no one wore shoes in the house, and we barefooted the July cement and hot lava rocks just to get the mail, run down the ice cream truck just because. Splashing in the garden hose damp St. Augustine grass, we footprinted the path to the front door, climbed the rubber tree before it was uprooted. We kickballed and freeze-tagged. All these feats of strength and skill and speed done while the afternoon held back second guesses and headlights. Sleeping drafts, mixing chocolate milk and honey of generation to help us forget what amazement we accomplished. To let us try it all again for the first time when we stretched ourselves into standing. Mixed in with the rest of the poems, I have a couple of older ones, and this one's one of the oldest ones that I've written. Well, I'll give you a little bit of background. When I was 21, that's pretty much the worst year of my life, and that's what this poem is about. It's also a sestina, which is my favorite poem to write. It's a worst year, favorite kind of poem, weird juxtaposition. Anyway, it's called Recollected. I'm collapsed and tumbling again into a mad, mad painting, vomited, whirling and swirling outside from inside, reminding me of when I enjoyed being dependent on you, or someone like you. I can't recall. Whose pretty face is this plastered on my watch? Alcohol is good, until you remember to fall over. I'm struggling to stumble to one foot, turning over to find my head dipped to the chin in a painting of Charlie Brown in white chalk. Good grief, I hate to watch you leaving me again. Cracked on the inside of my head, or my soul, I can't recall. What was it about you that made me feel so dependent? But it feels really swell to be in this dependent state of mind again and not empty, rehashed over and over and over again. Funny, but now I can't recall your name. And it's plastered right here on this painting. If I scratch it out, I wonder what's left inside. Because it's not enough fun losing you. I like to watch you point and laugh, and you like to watch me drink and fall. So since the pleasure is dependent on the pain, maybe today I'll just stay inside. Something in your shape I can't get over. Something in your head I can't read. Now I'm painting my toenails black. Or blue. I can't recall. Thinking makes me happy. Or sad. But I do recall everything you did and how you made me watch as if you really needed me there, painting clown faces like you were open and dependent. Sure fooled me, and now I can't get over being so damn dim-witted for you. Can't stay inside and let you win, but my liquid courage is inside. I heart you, or I hurt you. I can't recall what your silence said. So hurry up. Run over, keep me pinned in place. I know you like to watch this marionette show, so dying to be dependent. I'll shatter bottles against my mad, mad painting. Do you like my painting? And are you going inside? Leaving me to feel dependent? Or deep-ended? I can't recall. Or do you promise to stay and watch me fall over? This is a poem about my dog. I have a giant puppy of a dog. He just turned 2. He's a half Alaskan Husky, half German Shepherd. And his name is Charlie. And this is something that happened a little more than a month ago. It's called Valentine's Day 2012. Charlie hops the gate to push past my protests and nose through the front door. He takes off at the speed of losing consciousness. He moves like cars before the collision. He is beautiful. Straining muscles on afternoon sidewalk, dodging raindrops the size of junior high kids retreating, I think about stopping, turning around. He's done this before, and I'm always ready to be abandoned. But it hurts every time, the way all self-fulfilling prophecies do, so I twist my red right ankle, trapping Charlie in a corner, wrap my arms around him in the shape of never ever leave me again, okay? He lets me lead him down D Street, up Imperial, back to our cul-de-sac, and never once tries to slip his collar. When we're home, we sit on opposite couches. He looks at me as if to say, when can we do that again? And I don't have it in me to be angry. I'm too busy swallowing a glass of water whole, waiting for the shards to stop tearing me up from inside. I sweat cold, I rush adrenaline. I watch Charlie curl into a sleeping lamb and contemplate when is best to run after, when is best to let go. So lately, I've been finding myself in this weird cycle of writing poems either about poetry or about women, sometimes both. So the next couple of poems have to do with both. This first one's called Woman at a Poetry Reading. Actually, it's a longer title. It's Woman at a Poetry Reading at Cal State San Bernardino. Just in case anyone was wondering. My eyes keep falling for her cinnamon curtains draped over living, breathing portrait. I'm 12 again. I want to see what I can't see, but instead stick to floral patterns sticking to the small of her, where hands can cave, floral patterns sinking into the skin of her, running to become one with her shrugging aside molds like drops of dark paint falling to dry. She turns and I spill eyelash down the slope of her, down to the lips that splash pink, all the curves that drive men like me crazy. And it's enough until it's not. The nearness of chalky sweet scent brightens my mouth with daring, but she turns to leave before I, trapped by a room full of silence, can ask her name. Michaelson Knapp, who's not here, he's sick, so he wanted me to be here, but he couldn't be here. He was with me at that poetry reading, and when I showed him the poem, he basically just said, why didn't you just talk to her? And I said I was busy writing a poem. That's the way it goes sometimes. This is about a woman who I saw read in Colorado, not Colorado, she's from Colorado. I saw her read in Chicago at the AWP conference earlier this month. Shannon with tattoos all around her neck. Shannon with tattoos all around her neck wears them like a talisman to strike panic dumb. Flowers blooming out from the concrete of old scars she speaks of in a poem. The bones in the walls crack around her as she wraps one fist around the microphone. Shannon steadies the aftershocks stuck in her throat, gasps the words facial reconstruction, rasps how bones shatter on impact, how one accident doesn't have to mean you no longer have choices, how helpless is a fictional word. Her face is turned the color of fire, clawing for air by the time she stops at the last period on the page. Shannon with tattoos all around her neck sits, the quiet center of a room clapping thunder to trap in the jar she keeps resolve in, and turn loose when fear, like snowdrift, tries to bury her. Two-poem warning. And this second to last poem is also another poem about a woman. And it comes with artwork. Oops. I spent a lot of time on this, so can everybody see that? Okay. It'll make sense in a second. It's called Woman on a Flight from Chicago to Phoenix. All I see is the part in her hair, the hollowed out silver moon that's crashed into her earlobe, and one curling eyelash. The three of them spelling Y-O-U. And already I'm breathing magnets, my head oriented towards her North Star. She has words written all over her shoulder. They drag me in, the sharp edges like hooks that sink into the skin of my teeth. I'm easy to pull. I am at the mercy of the altitude, the clouds clouding my judgment. She waits until turbulence before penciling mascara, putting lids with the letters W, N, T, and a vowel in a shape I can't read placed somewhere I can't find. This is the kind of I'll be a fool for you that will last as long as we remain seated with our tray tables up, seatbelts fastened, chairs in full upright positions. But she folds herself anyway, pillowing her sweater. Our eyes occupy the same space at the same time, and she smiles before sleeping. I drift off. When the kick comes, I stumble out of a daydream, her flitting a hint of tongue through a space between rows of teeth the size of a smile every time she makes an L sound. Me asking her to pretty please pronounce both those L's in my name. Blinking flushes all the color away. Memory falls opaque. In our haste to exit, our glances bump, and it's awkward enough to plant our feet back on solid ground. She offers me the aisle. I say, thank you, and don't look back. And I'll end with this one. This is more of a, well, to me anyways, it's happier. It's called Long Day, Good Night. And thanks again, everybody, for listening. Long Day, Good Night. We test the politeness of the water, dropping our hands. The nonsensical hiss breaks our concentration, and we roll along the floor, giggling. The ends of our deadened nerves blister and burst, spilling our maturity. Spices to flavor the meal we've somehow managed to ruin. The last 3 moons we spent trapped in this quaint makeshift crate, dancing to autonomy while our shadows gather dust beneath us, carving cave drawings all along the whitewashed walls, staring ourselves cotton-eyed, conjuring clouds on the ceiling. Clouds shaped like morning, shaped like scars, shaped like thunder, shaped like God, shaped like clouds. Idly we ponder the secrets embedded in our naked spines, fingertips smudged with indigo ink, tracing the sudden tremors in wide, seismic lines. Your neck is a hollow, bottomless trunk. I'm tapping 3 times to hear the last echoes of your calm, considerate conflagration. Thank you.